Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. Starting a few minutes late today, we just watched the first duel of the NASCAR season. I did cash a ticket. I bet Bubba Wallace just on a whim, and I hit that, so that's a nice little start to my night. Last week's card was not the best for us. Probably one of the worst cards I've had in a while. I'm hoping to get a bounce back here. Johnny, you saw this card coming up. How you feeling? What are you thinking about this one?
Last week was not the greatest. Chased late, got a little money back. But not the best performance for me. But this is a fun card. I like this card. Some interesting spots, interesting fights. I think there's some spots we can make some money on.
Absolutely. Definitely looks like a bounce back card here. One thing that really bothered me about last week was betting guys like Kevin Doucette. Like when I go in and we talk about, I don't know if this guy's any good. He was fighting a guy that I thought was terrible. So I was like, yeah, he's worth it. Probably good value there. But no, just sometimes these guys, if you just have questions about them, you just got to fade the fight, just move on.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But we've got a new card this week.
Cody Steele not wrestling. Cody Steele not wrestling. Yeah.
Yep. That's another thing. These Contender Series guys they're coming in here looking like great wrestlers, and they're just not wrestling. I don't understand it. Or if they do
I wonder if that's I wonder if maybe they want to go in there and put on an exciting fight, and they don't want to wrestle where they're best at, and maybe they just want to put on a show. I don't know. That's maybe what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, and then by the time they realize it's a bad move, they're already tired and beat up. So wrestling's kind of out the window. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird, but I'm gonna be a little bit more. I'm going to fade these guys a little bit more coming in. Like we've had questions with who I forget the guy. It was a couple cards ago. Another wrestler coming in we thought was going to be great, and just shit the bed, gassed out, and got worked by a vet. And we see it time and time again. So we've got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So I will definitely be looking into that a little bit more going forward. But we've got it's a decent card, not the greatest card of all time, but there's a lot of fun fights on this one, and definitely some money to be made. So let's jump right into it here. Our first fight on the card is a massive lopsided fight based on the odds. Got Julia Avila taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti in a women's bantamweight bout. Avila, she's had a lot of time off. She's had a lot of injuries. Cavalcanti's taken a ton of money. Her line's basically doubled in the past couple days. Almost unbettable here. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Cavalcanti just continues to take money. I think earlier in the week she was like minus 500. Now she's all the way up to minus 750.
Yeah.
She's a good striker, her last couple fights have been pretty decent performances, but they've all been pretty close fights, split decisions to two girls, Yeah, but I like her. I think she has potential, and I like her striking. It's pretty clean, and Avila coming in here like she's off the layoff. The last time we saw her, she just absolutely got dominated by Miesha Tate every single round, taken down and just beat up. She came in with the double knee braces, which is never good. She's. But on the feet, she's a pretty decent striker from what I see. All the girls that really give her problems are the girls that are taking her down and just mauling her. Like if this is on the feet, I could see her. She's kind of wild and she throws bombs on the feet. I could see her landing some big shots and maybe making it closer than it probably should because Cavalcanti's just landing the more volume, but Avila might be blitzing in, landing big shots. If Cavalcanti comes in and tries to wrestle, I think, she's definitely going to have success. With the money line, there's not really much you can do here. Cavalcanti's just juice for a decision. not much you can bet here. Something I might have thought of, it's maybe a finish in this fight that kind of interested me. In under here was something interesting. Just by the way Avila fights, and if Cavalcanti can get a take, I mean anybody could grapple. Avila, it looks like. So I think
Yeah,
if
for
she can
sure.
get a takedown and get on top and land some big shots, or even her striking defense is terrible. Even coming in, she can catch her. But obviously, I mean, I think Cavalcanti probably wins. But I mean, I don't know how to bet her. Maybe take a shot on a inside the distance prop or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not much you can do here.
Yeah, it's tough with these fights. I mean, I think she wins the fight as well. One thing last year that I told myself I'm not going to do is I'm not going to chase these big favorites because I lost money trying to figure out a way to bet them. And this one, you're right. There's a chance this fight finishes. We know Avila, she's had a lot of injuries. She's had a lot of time off. Both are pretty aggressive, so anything can happen. But yeah, this is one that the money line's so big. Even a finish, I haven't seen what the finish would be for Cavalcani. If it's if
Plus
it's
300, inside the
okay. See,
distance.
now that's something that I don't mind betting because that's you don't have to invest too much, and it's worth a shot. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, these fights are just kind of fights I'm looking to fade. Plus 300 though, I think I might take a little sprinkle on that one because I definitely see a finish opportunity here. So yeah, I mean Cavalcani, I think she wins the fight. Avila's she's been through the ringer. She's a good fighter. She's a solid fighter, but her best days are behind her, and just with all the injuries, it's just
She
probably
had
not going to be.
kids. I think she had 2 kids too. I think so.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was
At
coming
some
off
at
of
some point,
yeah.
the UFC career's just kind of out the window. So you know, could be ugly, could be gross, but yeah, I think Cavalcani wins, and I might throw a little quarter unit shot on the inside the distance. That'll be something I'm looking at for sure.
Under 2.5 is plus 225, plus 255,
That's
just in
not bad
case if
either.
Avila catches her with something, because she
Yeah,
does throw wild.
yeah. I mean, she's good. Like when she does win fights, she comes out and she starches people in the first round. We've seen it before.
Gina
So
Mazzani, yeah.
yeah, not out of the question. So yeah, I mean the plus 255 just for anybody to finish the fight. That's pretty good. But all right, we'll move on to our next fight. And again, not the greatest of fights here. We've got heavyweight bout, like most UFC heavyweight fights, generally pretty ugly. We've got Dontel Mays taking on Walter Walker. Walter looked, better in his last fight in terms of his conditioning. He got himself into decent shape. He won by submission. Again, another one of those fights where it feels like if that fight stayed on the feet any longer, he might have been in trouble. Dontel Mays is, a big guy, solid striking. He can be grappled for sure. The question here is, can Walter take him down and keep him down, or does he get tired and gas out? And we've got an ugly slugfest here down the stretch. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is your typical heavyweight slot fest. Walker before he came into the UFC looked like a fucking chiseled, statue. I mean, the guy was jacked. He was on all the good stuff. Then he comes to the UFC and he's just sloppy. I mean, the performances just aren't very good. I mean, he did look a little bit better in his last fight. He was in better shape. But yeah, I don't really like his cardio. I don't think his striking is very good. I think he probably has some power in his hands. But of course, if you're up at 260, everybody has power at heavyweight. So, but yeah, I mean, I do like his wrestling. If his cardio holds up and he can grapple. I mean, I think Mays sucks, man. He's just not very good. I mean,
Yeah.
fights behind his jab. I mean, he's just not very good. Yeah, I see Walker probably just taking him down and laying on him for 15 minutes. But if it is on the feet, I mean, I think Mays probably does have a striking advantage on the feet. So, I mean, if Walker decides to fight stupid and try to stand with them or just gasses out and can't get takedowns, I mean, I definitely think Mays could be live. This might be like a live betting opportunity if Walker grapples early, and maybe in the round 2 he looks a little tired and the takedowns aren't coming so easily, then maybe a live bet on Mays. But yeah, I think Walker should probably just grapple fuck him and just, probably just a boring grappling decision. I don't know. Maybe he can finish Mays, but Mays is just, you don't know what to expect. This guy, you don't know.
Yeah.
So I like Walker to win, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I think Walker at his best takes him down and holds him down, and probably submission is not out of the question, but I don't think it's going to be easy to submit Mays. And I think honestly this is really just a live betting fight, because if Walker has success in the first round, but it looks like, Mays is hanging in there. Mays definitely down the stretch when they're on their feet, he's going to have a huge advantage. So, I think Dontel Mays live is a good look. On paper right now, obviously Walker with the wrestling advantage. We just saw Mays get wrestle fucked for 3 rounds. But again, Gaziev is he's not the greatest heavyweight of all time, but he's not a bad fighter. Pretty good top game, maybe a little bit better control, a little stronger on top than Walker is. So, maybe that's not the best thing to go off of, but we did see Mays get held down by him. I think Walker could do it. I think he could do the same thing to him. But, if he starts to get tired at all, I think Mays is more than live. So we'll see. We'll see what weigh-ins look like. If Walker looks like he's in great shape, I'll probably bet him with the over, or just by decision. But
decisions plus 130.
This is probably a fight. What's that?
Decisions plus 130.
Yeah, so I don't mind that. Pre-flop, I don't mind that at all.
Sub is plus 375.
It's not terrible either. Mays is he's not a great fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a guy that can hang in there, even if he does get taken down, and controlled. He can survive. I can definitely see Walker winning a decision here. So that's probably how I'll go into it. I might have a little something on Walker by decision, but I will be ready to push the button on Mays if it looks like he's kind of the fresher fighter midway through like the second round or something like that. So, another ugly fight. We've seen these fights a million times. We know how they go. So we'll potential live opportunity for sure.
Yep.
All right, our next fight on the card. Now we're getting to some fights where I feel like both guys have some real potential here. We've got a bantamweight bout between Vince Morales and Elijah Smith. Vince Morales, another guy like Rong Ju, who had a little run in the UFC, had some good, had some bad, fought some really tough guys. Went back to the regional scene, kind of ripped through some opponents on the regional scene. Came back to the UFC, lost a tough fight to Taylor Lapilus, but or was it Lapilus? Yeah, I think it was Lapilus. A tough matchup on his return, but he showed a good account for himself in the third round. He's Vince Morales. There's no quitting the kid. Takes a lot of damage, but he's a tough out. Elijah Smith, coming in off the Contender Series, he has good grappling, good striking, good prospect, young kid. But again, we've seen these guys fail time and time again. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's another one where the line just plummeted. Um, yeah, Morales was like plus 180, I think, earlier in the week. He's down to plus 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morales. I mean, he's one of these vet guys. I mean, like you said, his second tenure in, he took that fight with Lapalus to get in. Got pretty much beat pillar to post in that fight. Um, yeah, I mean, he's got good striking. He's just kind of low volume sometimes. He doesn't let his hands go. I would like him to throw more volume. I mean, decent. I mean, I guess he could grapple if he needs to decently. But yeah, I like this Elijah Smith kid. I mean, he looks really good. I mean, the hands are fast, good combination, good boxing. He can grapple. I mean, he seems to have all the tools. The only thing, I mean, he's usually sparking dudes early, and the thing like in his last fight against Tal in the Contender Series, it's like, I mean, he beat him pillar to post like in the first round, beat him down, and then he kind of gassed in the third round, but he still landed like 30 plus strikes. It was a war,
Yeah.
but he lost the third round, but he won the first two. So I mean, I don't see Morales going anywhere. This is another one where I think it's another good live betting opportunity. I like Smith here, but I could see myself getting on Morales live. I don't know. This is a tough one. Like at the opening number, or what it was earlier in the week at like plus 180, I probably would have bet Morales at that. But now he's down to plus 130. I just can't bet him, and I do like Smith.
Yeah.
So it's like, but could it be a little too soon for this kid? He's going in there against this vet. Maybe he gets that he's that bet lesson. It's a tough one for me because I like Smith. I don't know how good Morales is, but I don't know if Smith is ready for this big stage. But it is in the Apex, so it'll kind of be like they're in the gym training session. So that should help him out here.
Yeah.
He might not have that the same adrenaline dump, but yeah, this is an interesting one. I need to think about this one for a little bit longer, but I'm going to lean Smith gets the job done here just by landing more output, landing the better strikes, and yeah, edging it out.
Yeah.
Probably
This is a
2-1.
fight. This is a fight that Smith should win. I'm gonna go with Morales here, just based on recent history, man. We've seen this kind of situation time and time again. It feels like we've seen it a lot lately, and I think Morales is going to be in the fight the whole time. If Smith could probably put him out at some point, but if he doesn't, I think Morales is going to be there the whole time. He's going to be in his face. One thing I liked about his last fight was when he made his return to the UFC, he was losing. He was getting beat pillar to post, but in the third round, his coaches said, "Hey, you got to go, man. You got to get a finish." He went for it, didn't get it, but he fought a great third round. I mean, he lost the fight, but I feel like this is a situation where he's just going to go. He's been in there with some really tough guys. He's fought close fights with really tough guys. Now he's fighting a kid who's a little wild. I think Smith can be a little wild, can be a little overzealous at times. I think the fight's going to be up in the air. I definitely, the numbers come down, and I don't like it as much for Morales. But, on first look, I thought this is a shot. This is a dog or pass kind of fight for me. So I'm going to roll with Morales here. The number, I wish the number was a little bit better. I wish I bet the plus 180. I didn't jump on it at that time. But yeah, I think Morales is live in this one, and it's going to be competitive. It's going to be close. Yeah. I think he's definitely one of the more live dogs on the card. So I'll roll Morales here.
Yeah.
And, we'll see. These Contender Series fighters, this is kind of one of those ones where they failed against tough vets. Maybe we'll see. But I'm going to roll with Morales here. All right, our next fight is in the welterweight division. We've got the first of the Bonfim brothers. We got Gabriel Bonfim taking on Chaos Williams. This is a fun one. Chaos. That's what he does. He brings chaos into his fights. He's got a lot of early finishes. Got a lot of big power. Bonfim. He's got power himself. He's a big, strong guy. He's got very good grappling, dangerous submissions. This is kind of a clash of styles here. I mean, Chaos just kind of comes at you, guns blazing. Bonfim has more ways to win, but maybe a little bit more front loaded. His cardio did look better though in his last fight at elevation, so I give him some credit for that. This is a fun one. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Bonfim bounced back after getting finished by Dalby. In his last fight, he was able to, he kind of paced himself, it looked like. He took his time and, and kind of saved energy, because he was pretty much just running through guys, until the Dalby fight. And, yeah, this is the one that fought Dalby, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Ishmael? Yeah.
No, that's him.
So, so, this is another tough one. Initially I thought because I think one of these Bonfim brothers isn't going to be good. It's like you got to just pick which one it's going to be. I don't think both of them are going to be good. And they got the skill set. It's just some of them if they don't get the finish and it gets later into the fight, they kind of I don't know. You seem kind of discouraged. I don't know, but I think he's good. He's got all the skills everywhere. He's got decent striking. The grappling's good. Optimistic submission game. And Chaos Williams, he's a beast, man. He's got fucking nukes in his hands. So he's got that death touch. If he hits, he's got power for days. He's a tough guy. Good takedown defense. Hard to grapple him. If this is on the feet, Chaos has good cardio. I don't see him slowing down. This is another tough one for me because I think Chaos could absolutely fucking dead him with one punch, but I think Bonfim has more ways to win. Just more. He's got the better grappling, so maybe he can get a takedown on Chaos maybe late in the fight and get on top and win a round like that. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna pick Bonfim, but I can see Chaos Williams just absolutely starching him. But I think Bonfim, if he stays safe and he fights a smart fight, I think he could take this one down. So yeah, pick for me is Bonfim.
Yeah, I like Bonfim here for the same. I was pretty impressed with the way he bounced back at elevation. In Denver, went 3 rounds, fought pretty well all 3 rounds. Cardio looked vastly improved. It seems like that Dalby fight was a wake-up call for him. So, you got to give a guy credit. Sometimes you see guys fade and they never bounce back. The Bonfim one, he faded and fought a tough bet and lost and got finished and came back and, he showed that he was evolving. So, got to give him credit for that. Chaos, obviously, he's got the power. He can catch pretty much anybody on the feet. But one thing about him is he's got a lot of early finishes. We've seen him win decisions, but generally speaking, as the fight goes longer, he doesn't put out a ton of volume. He's not the type of guy that you really worry about pushing a pace against a guy like Bonfim, who we're still questioning. Is his cardio really good, or did he have one good fight and maybe still can be paced out? But I don't really think Chaos is a guy that could pace him. I think skill for skill, Bonfim has the better skills. Blow for blow, Chaos Williams could catch him with something big and put him out. But I just think the overall game, I got to roll with Bonfim on this one. I actually kind of like the over in this one too. Bonfim by decision is plus money. Or actually, I want to say even the over 1.5 was plus money. I looked earlier, which
Chaos is pretty durable. I don't. Chaos is pretty durable too. So
yeah, exactly. The Chaos is not a guy that you're expecting to get finished.
At least not knocked out.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
saying,
yeah,
yeah,
obviously
225
for the
plus
decision.
225. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could
But
see this
even
fight
though,
being kind of similar to the like Bedoya fight, where Bedoya just was able to kind of just out volume him and put pressure on him. I thought Bedoya looked really good in that fight.
yeah,
I could kind of see Bonfim doing a similar thing. Just
yeah,
doing a little.
absolutely.
But I mean, but getting the win instead of losing.
Right. Yes.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, to me, bomb theme over 1.5. I think that's what I looked at earlier. It was plus 125. I don't hate that at all. Um, I mean, the over 1.5, that's not that far into the fight. And but yeah, I honestly I do think this fight is there's a good chance it goes to a decision. And yeah, if
like
you bet the decision,
I like Bonfim to win in round 2 starts. That could be an interesting way. It's
that's
minus
good too.
115.
I can't bet that, but if I
You can't bet
could,
those?
I would love to bet that.
They don't let you bet that?
No, dude, I get the worst.
Yeah.
I get the
Yeah,
worst bets
I'll
here in
probably
New
be
York.
betting that. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think that's the way to go with Bonfim with the overs. If you want to take a sprinkle on chaos by KO, that's definitely in the cards. But yeah, I think Bonfim just kind of he's able to outwork him a little bit and just be a little bit of a better overall fighter. All right, our next fight is in the flyweight division. We've got Rafael Estevam taking on Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar's, he's put on a few nice fights in a row. He's surprised me a little bit. Really good grappling. Both guys have issues making weight, so Friday morning is going to be interesting to see how these guys look on the scales. Estevam, very strong, good grappler, does a lot of damage on top, undefeated, really good fighter. But his last fight, dominant for 2 rounds. We saw him fade a little bit. Aguilar, very good grappler, so there's that thought maybe Aguilar pushes him a little bit. Fight gets interesting, but the odds obviously heavily in favor of Estevam. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one to me. Yeah, I don't know how much I could trust this Esteban guy. I mean, he's had a long layoff. He did look decent in his first fight, but then he kind of slowed down. He missed weight by 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Injuries. It's like this isn't a guy I want to trust at minus 435. I mean, you could grapple him and maybe get a sub. Aguilar has been subbed before, and he can be vulnerable on the ground. But Aguilar is just he's a tricky guy. I mean, he'll sneak in he has a nasty guillotine that he sneaks in. That he'll pull Gilly here. That's another thing of my concern is one of Aguilar's main weapons is that guillotine, which if he gets it, and he's going to put you out. But if he doesn't, then he's probably going to be on his back for the remainder of the round, which is not something ideal. I mean, he's got decent striking. I mean, good grappling in his own right, but I definitely think Esteban is the better grappler. He has some pop in his hand, Aguilar. He absolutely nuked Shannon Ross, but that's not something. I mean, everybody nukes Shannon Ross. So
yeah, we found that out.
So I don't know. The thing I don't really like this fight at all, betting wise. The thing that I did look at is maybe Aguilar by sub at 10-1, taking a little sprinkle on that in this fight. Maybe he jumps that Gilly and locks it up because he's always loved to do that. So I was thinking maybe an Aguilar sub, but other than that, this is a pass for me.
Yeah, I could see it, especially late. I mean, round 3, I think if Estevam is emptied the tank. The one thing I will say though is Estevam gassed out against Charles Johnson late in the third round. Charles Johnson is a tough out. He's a guy that you can grapple. He can be taken down, but he finds a way to get up all the time. He pushes a pace. So
Yeah.
fading against that guy is not necessarily indicative of what Estevam is. A lot of guys have faded against Charles Johnson.
Yeah, because you got to work to get those. Charles Johnson, he's pretty hard to take down, but he can be taken down. You got to work for him. So
yeah, you got to work, and you got to work to keep him down. And Estevam did a really good job of that for 2 rounds, but it just at some point, it's a nightmare. And Johnson's just a cardio king. And what you were saying about Aguilar pulling Gilly, that could give Estevam a little easier path to the takedown and to control time.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily as much trying to hold him down, because it's a guy who wants to play jiu-jitsu, makes it a little bit easier. So I think Estevam should win this fight. I like the overs in this one as well, because Aguilar is a good grappler. We've seen him submitted before, but he is a good grappler. His jiu-jitsu is dangerous. That can get him out of some tight spots. So I can see this one going long as well. And like you said, him by submission, 10-1, not a bad sprinkle at all. Because as the fight goes long, if Estevam does get tired, catch that Gilly and it's night. And we've seen that plenty. So 2 guys, struggle to make weight. I can see it getting ugly late in the fight. So we'll see how weigh-ins play out. But
this is one I definitely want to see weigh-ins for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we'll move on to the next fight. This one pissed me off because I just finished breaking down this fight with Jared Gordon's previous opponent, and then I clicked on.
Oh, no.
And then it switched over, and I saw Ruzi Boev's name, and I was like, you got to be shitting me. So got a lightweight bout here. Jared Gordon taking on Mashraban Ruzi Boev. His brother is in the UFC. We've seen him a few times. Ruzi Boev taking this fight on very short notice. He's got a lot of first-round finishes. Seems to be kind of a front-loaded guy. Jared Gordon, tough UFC vet. You've seen him in there with some of the better guys in the division. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Ruziboyev, you say he's got a lot of early finishes, but the level of competition is just not all that. The guys he's fighting,
Right.
They look like they look like they're 200 pounds and they're 5'4". It's crazy. He's fighting guys that they don't look the best. Their records are suspect. The guys he's fought, records have been flagged. I don't know what to make of this guy. This is a weird thing. Don't know. And this is kind of how I felt about his brother coming in. I really didn't know what to expect, and he comes out and just fucking nukes. So this is one where I don't know where this guy's good at anywhere. I guess he's got some pop in his hand, and he's got a little grappling in his back pocket, but I don't think his cardio is very good. He's coming in here on short notice. He's at a good gym. He's with Sean Brady and Pfeiffer and all them at that gym in Philly with his brothers. Yeah. So, he's at a good camp. He's coming in on short notice. I just was not impressed by the tape, and it just did not look good. Like the quality of competition, just not very good. And, Jared Gordon, he's a solid, good fighter. He's got decent striking. He's got the wrestling. I think, his path for success here is probably to get the grappling going and get some takedowns here. On the feet, I kind of question Jared Gordon's chin a little bit, maybe. He's been cracked a few times, so that's a bit of a concern. But I just think Gordon is this is just a tough, short notice step in for Ruziboyev here. Can he catch him and put him out? It's MMA, anything can happen. But I just think Jared Gordon's better anywhere, everywhere. So yeah, I'm just not. I don't know what to make of this Ruziboev guy, and we've seen what Gordon brings to the table. So yeah, it's probably Gordon. I don't know if he gets a finish here. Maybe. I mean,
Yeah, if it was a couple of fights ago, I would say yeah, he definitely wins a decision. But then when he starched, what's his name?
oh yeah, fucking the Marco Madsen. Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, maybe he can finish fights. He absolutely killed that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jared Gordon here. I mean, he opened at -200 in a lot of places. He's down to -175, which is, still a little bit pricey, but
-175. No.
The other way.
I have him minus 340.
You see him at 340?
Yeah. Jared Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him on DK at -175. That might have changed, but I was actually kind of shocked. So I'll have to double check that because I don't see why Ruziboev would take money. Like even when we look at his brother, his brother, I've made some money off his brother, but he's also fought some of the biggest cans in the UFC. We saw in his last fight, he kind of fought some tougher competition and things didn't go well for him. I think Jared Gordon's just a better fighter here. He has been cracked in the past. He has been finished, but his last fight, he showed some durability. We saw some great volume out of him. It was a great fight, back and forth fight. I think if that Jared Gordon shows up, and also the grappling too, like he has the grappling, he can push a pace. Really, that's all he has to do is push a pace. He can mix in the grappling, just wear on the cardio. And I think Jared Gordon should roll in this fight all day. I think, I think this is, I don't like parlaying, too much when it comes to the UFC, but I think Jared Gordon might be, I might throw him in a parlay somewhere.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like it.
All right. Our next fight is in the women's strawweight division. We've got Angela Hill taking on Ketlin Souza. And like every Angela Hill fight, it's basically a coin flip. Angela Hill, I don't know if she's 40 yet, but she's right close to 40.
She's 40. I think she's 40.
Souza, young, up and comer, very, good striker. But man, Angela Hill, she just shows up every fight. I did think she looked a little bit older in her last fight. She looked a little bit sluggish, but she still put up good volume. Always a tough out. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this one is, Souza came out and, absolutely like that Rodrigues fight was kind of weird. I mean, both of them fouled each other. And then they got the pussy kick. The pussy kicks. They traded pussy kicks there. So
wild, man.
That was pretty crazy. And then she absolutely just, catches her clean and just drops her and then jumps on the neck and puts Rodrigues to sleep. Prior to that, she gets knee barred by Karine Silva. Absolutely gets her knee destroyed. I don't know. I guess she's a decent striker. She's got power in her hand. She's kind of a little low volume for me. She's got some decent grappling. She's okay. But we know what we're getting from Angie. She's been here before. She's high output, high paced. And even lately she's been implementing the grappling in her game a little bit. She has a sub win on her record. Yeah, she's gotten some grappling going in her back pocket. She's kind of added that to her game, because before that it would be her that would always be the one that would be the suspect takedown defense. Girls were able to like take her down and kind of hold her down, but it seems like she's kind of been working on that and improving on that, even mixing in the grappling of her own. Every Angie Hill fight is close, so it's like. Has the most split decisions. She's been probably robbed the most fights she should have won. She loses a split. Every fight is close. This one, I could see this one being close too. This is probably another Angie Hill split and flip a coin. Yeah, I mean, pick Angie, but I think, I mean, this probably goes to a split. I mean, every Angie fight's a split. So,
Yeah, really is.
um, yeah, but the pick for me's got to be Angie. Angie be able to just, put the pace on her, out volume her, just outwork her, do the better, land the better shots, maybe even get a takedown of her own, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Angie. I like Angie here. Angie by split,
Yeah.
probably. Let me see what that price is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically, I don't even know what to do with this fight. I think Souza, she's definitely got the higher upside when it comes to finishing the fight. But we saw Angie finish a fight a couple fights ago too. So Angela Hill she just shows up for these fights, and she's a great gatekeeper for sure. So yeah, I mean, I guess either one who you like here, you just at least bet them by decision just to sneak into like plus or at least even money territory. Um, I mean, I feel like I have a slight lean towards Souza just because she's a little bit younger. And at some point, I feel like Angie's going to slow down, but she is, she's a gamer, and to this point, she hasn't really shown it. But yeah, I'm going to lean slightly towards Souza here, and not a lot of confidence. I mean, I don't know if I'll do anything with this fight. I guess if I did, I would bet her by decision just to get that kind of even money. But yeah, I honestly, this is one I just might hang back and enjoy. It'll be a fun fight no matter what.
Let's go, Angie. Let's go, Angie. Let's go.
Yeah, you know what? I may even be on that side with you by the time fight night comes. So we'll be on the live show. We'll see. But yeah, I mean,
flip a coin.
It's a close fight.
Yeah.
All right, next fight up is in the the lightweight division, featherweight division. We've got Connor Matthews taking on Jose Delgado. Delgado making his debut. Matthews, we saw debut one fight ago in the UFC. I was not impressed with him at all. He just looked like he was a step behind. Ended up getting finished late in that fight. Delgado guy kind of comes forward, throwing bombs. He can mix in the takedowns. Another one of these Contender Series guys. But in this case, he's not fighting a UFC vet. He's fighting a guy that kind of got outworked, in the UFC. So I'm kind of high on Delgado here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect from Connor Matthews. Guy, I mean, the regional scene competition is not very good. And then, I mean, he got his contract, but then he gets into the UFC against another guy that I don't think is very good, and Dennis Bazookia, and absolutely gets beat down by Dennis Bazookia and finish. Yeah, I mean, he's got decent striking. I guess he has some pop in his hands, I guess, but yeah, I mean, the striking's okay, but nothing very good. I don't like Connor Matthews. I don't think he's UFC level. I don't think he's going to be here much longer. Probably fights out. He's probably got like a 3-fight deal or something when he signed his Contender Series contract. So, yeah, I'll be looking to fade this guy. I don't think he's very good. And Delgado, I mean, from what I see, I mean, the kid looks good. I mean, solid, good striking, pop in his hands, good grappling. Yeah, a well-rounded kid who I think could make improvements and get better and better by each fight. I like the Delgado by knockout. It's plus 185. I'll be betting that. I just don't think Connor Matthews is very good. And if Dennis Bazookia can put you out, I think this kid Delgado's definitely got the firepower to put him out. So, yeah, this is Delgado for me. Delgado by knockout or by finish. Yeah, let me see
Absolutely.
what the finish is. Finish is minus 105. Yeah, but I like the knockout. Yeah, I think he starches him.
Yeah, I feel like this is a fight where if he's winning and putting pressure on him, I can see Matthews just kind of folding and going away and just taking it, the ground and pound or whatever it is. Gets hit hard, goes down, and so yeah, I think the knockout's definitely live here. I don't think Matthews is very good. Watching him against Bazookia, I just felt like the whole time he never felt like he belonged at all. And Bazookia, he's a tough kid, but if you look at his record, there's a lot of losses surrounding that win over Matthews. So he's not the greatest. He's not the highest level.
Oh no, he's
So
terrible.
if a contender series guy is going to come in and look good in a debut, it's against a guy like Matthews, and I feel like that's what Delgado is going to do. I just think this is almost another contender series fight, and it's Delgado is just going to kind of just look like the far superior fighter here. So yeah, I like Delgado. Definitely think knockouts live, and again, I think Delgado's a solid parlay piece as well.
It's getting up there though. This is another one that keeps getting hammered.
Mm-hmm.
It's minus 435 now.
Yeah.
So these money lines are getting absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Later in the week.
I think the knockout's more than live though. I just
the under 2.5 is minus 145. So
I don't like that either.
Well,
but yeah, I mean we're pretty set on Delgado in that fight, so probably going to be some money placed on that one for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, our next fight is in the middleweight division. We have Rodolfo Vieira taking on Andre Petroski, two guys that love to grapple. For my money, Vieira is probably 3 levels above Petroski on the ground. Both guys, cardio can be a bit questionable, but yeah, again, I mean, I feel pretty strongly about Vieira in this one. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, Vieira he's the black belt hunter. So, once he gets it to the ground, it's like you're hitting lava, So, I mean, yeah, if this guy gets you down, it's pretty much a wrap. He's going to set traps and try to put you in some dangerous spots. His striking, I think, is okay. I mean, the most we've seen him utilize his striking was in that Curtis fight, where he looked. I mean, he looked okay. I mean, he didn't look like a fish out of water, and the cardio held up there. The one time we seen him absolutely gas was against Fluffy, where I mean, he absolutely just gasses after one round and then he ends up getting the books get reversed on him and he ends up getting choked out. The black belt hunter. So I mean, the thing about Petroski is a guy that I seem to always want to fade, though. That's the thing,
Yeah.
I question his cardio. He always looks tired, but it seems like he always seems to be able to fight through it. Like, he always looks tired. I don't think the cardio's that good, but I mean, he's one of these guys that kind of fights through the tiredness, But I do question the chin and the durability, when you're getting knocked out by Jacob Malkoon's hip, that's
right.
just kind of weird, and I just question the durability. I mean, he's had some pretty favorable matchups in his last. I mean, he fought Dylan Butka, who we'll talk about later, but yeah, I don't think it's very good. And he absolutely just got him down and held him down. Didn't even like try to finish him. Which I had Petroski by finish, and he didn't even attempt to finish him. Just pretty much held him down. I guess he throws some
Frems as well.
Yeah, Frem did the same thing. Didn't even go for a finish. Yeah. So, I mean, he's got like some looping hooks that he kind of has some power, in his hands. But I think Vieira is probably the better striker and better grappler here.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, if Vieira gets us to the ground, he's going to choke him out. The under here is interesting to me. It's minus 135. The under 2.5. That is an interesting bet for me here. Vieira by sub plus 160. That's interesting to me. And the Petrosky decision at plus 425, because I see if he does win, then he just like kind of edges him out on the feet maybe a little bit and maybe sneaks a decision. I don't see him finishing Vieira unless Vieira absolutely death gasses. So
Right.
I like Vieira to win and the under, probably by sub. So yeah, that's what I'm going with here. Vieira by sub. That's probably what I'll be betting. Because if he gets this down at some point, maybe Petrosky gets tired late, and if he can get on top or get his back, I think it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think a good reason why Petrosky looks like he fights through the fatigue is because he has fought a lot of lower level guys. And when you're fighting lower level guys, you kind of can get away with that. Especially, I mean, he's a strong wrestler. There's no doubt about it. He's talented for sure. But I think Vieira, he's not a good striker by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a tough guy and he'll hang in there. He throws decent punches. He has a decent jab. Definitely, a guy that's worked on his striking since getting into MMA. And Petrosky, if they stay on the feet, I feel like Petrosky's got the advantage early. He can catch him with something big. But again, Petrosky's kind of just throwing looping punches, not a lot of control. He definitely, uses a lot of energy even in the striking. So I think just over time, I think Vieira just kind of wears him out. And then if the fight goes to the ground, Vieira to me is just head and shoulders better. They're not even in the same ballpark. The thing about Fluffy, when Fluffy subbed him, number one, that was a wake-up call for Vieira. And number two, Fluffy, that's what he does. He's a cardio machine. He's a great grappler. I think he could do the same thing to Petrosky. So, it's not necessarily, you can't put too much stock into that fight. And I just think overall, Vieira just fought the tougher guys overall in his career. And when it comes to the jiu-jitsu, they're not even in the same ballpark. So, yeah, I just think Vieira, even if the fight stays on the feet, I think at some point he kind of takes over. So I like Vieira a lot here. I do think he can find a submission. So, yeah, I like the unders. I like Vieira. And, I think aside from him getting caught with something big early, I think Vieira wins this fight pretty handily. All right, our next fight is in the – I don't think I switched the screen yet. Oh, I did. Lightweight division, we have Ismail Bonfim taking on Nazim Sadikov. Bonfim, pretty solid favorite here. There is, Sadikov's a solid fighter, tough out. Bonfim, he's had one tough outing in the UFC. We saw him get face cranked by Benoit Saint Denis. Other than that, he's looked pretty good. His striking looks good. His grappling looks good. Sadikov, he's pretty well rounded himself. Definitely takes some damage. This should be a definitely fun fight to watch. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is a fun one, another fun one, another one that I'm looking forward to watching. Sadikov, I mean, he's decent striking, but I mean, my concern with him, I mean, he's pretty hittable on the feet. We've seen Slavikov's kind of piece him up and put that work on him, and then Evan Elder was touching him too. Evan Elder, before that fight got stopped with the cut, he was winning that fight. He was beating him up pretty bad, pretty much doing whatever he wanted. Yeah, I mean, he has some decent power in his hands. He has some grappling he can go to. He's out of that Mongo camp, so he's a decent grappler. He's got guys like Marab and Aljo to train with, So I mean, the grappling is going to be good. He's just a little too hittable on the feet for me. I mean, he throws pretty wild. He leaves his chin out there. He's there to be hit. Elder dropped him in the first round. I mean, Slava was piecing him up pretty bad. And this the bomb theme, bro. I mean, besides the Benoit Saint Denis fight, which I think I was on Saint Denis in that fight. It was just kind of just like a wake up call, kind of. I mean, other than that, he was pretty much running through dudes, subbing them. I mean, he's kind of just like his brother. I mean, they kind of have the same game where they're pretty well rounded. They're pretty much good everywhere. I think Bonfim is probably the cleaner boxer here. I think he can land better shots here. I think he can even take down Sadikov if he wants to and use some grappling. Yeah, I think Bonfim brothers, they get back on track, and yeah, I like Bonfim here. I might go with the little Bonfim brother parlay, but
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I like Bonfim here. Just being the more technical, more defensively sound, more tools in the toolbox to just edge out Sadikov. I don't know if he finishes him because Sadikov is a pretty tough guy, but he's there to be hit. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think Bonfim, the one thing I noticed in Sadikov's last fight is he does take a lot of damage and he shells up a lot. He covers up his head a lot. And Bonfim, we saw in his last fight, man, against Vince Pichel, he was landing up top, but then he was landing that hook to the body, and he was landing some big time body shots. So against a guy who's going to kind of cover up and just let you take some shots as he moves forward, I can see Bonfim landing some big shots to the body. The grappling, Sadikov does have good grappling, but we haven't really seen it at this level. Even when he gets takedowns, he doesn't really control all that well. And Bonfim's he's a good grappler himself. So yeah, I think Bonfim's got him beat pretty much everywhere. It's a competitive fight for sure. Sadikov's a tough out. He's he's got good cardio. He does have solid grappling, but I think Bonfim could kind of just pick him apart on the feet, wear him out, and at least kind of stalemate the grappling or potentially land some takedowns of his own, make Sadikov work or try to get reversals. And so, yeah, I like Bonfim here. I do think, Bonfim brothers parlay definitely live, and definitely be something I throw down on. But yeah, I think he's just got the advantages everywhere in this fight. All right, that brings us to our next fight, and that brings us to a prospect that, I mean, still could be dead in Edmund Shabazian. I don't know really what to think of this kid. Taking on Dylan Budka, who is not good. You mentioned him earlier. This seems like a great spot for Shabazian. I still have my reservations with this kid. His cardio kind of scares me. He's got very good striking. He does have good grappling. But yeah, there's just something about his game that kind of scares me. But against a guy like Dylan Budka, I don't know, man. Feels like he's being set up for a win here. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Shabazian's kind of like one of the biggest flakes. I mean, he came in, he was steamrolling, trash cans, and then he got to step up in competition, and then pretty much got exposed. And pretty much, if you can outlast that first 5 minutes, maybe make him work, take him down, he just completely gasses. I mean, the striking is very, very good. I mean, he's got power in his hands. He's going to be dangerous in that first 7 minutes. If he can land, he can put you away. It's just that cardio is just like, man, it's bad. It's like he gives up on himself after 7 minutes. He's just like done. It's really weird. I don't know like how you could fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a prospect coming in, but I think now he's like 28 years old, so it's like he's about to hit his prime. So now it's kind of like do or die time for Shabazian, And this is this matchup for him right here. This is the perfect matchup. You're going up against Dylan Budka, who, I mean, as we've seen, pretty much has nothing. He's a U.S. wrestler. and these guys, I mean, this guy's game, he's not well rounded. I mean, the striking is not all that there. He's going to probably want to make Shabazian work, push him up on the cage push, land little shots, maybe get a takedown. But the striking is terrible. I think he can be finished. We've seen Almeida absolutely starch him. Yeah, but I mean, his path to victory here is surviving that first 5 minutes, and then we've seen Shabazian have that quit in him, man. So, but I don't know if Butka's the guy to even really do that. So it's like, This is not like anybody else that had maybe a pulse. It would be like maybe they can survive and get something, But Butka, I just think sucks. I don't think he's good. I think he's probably gone after this fight. So yeah, the pick for me, an interesting bet that I was looking at that I was surprised was the Shabazian KO in 1 or 2 at plus 200. I mean, that's something that I love. I mean, that's a bet that I'll definitely be making. Yeah, because I think if Shabazian, I mean, I guess he could beat him down for 2 rounds and win a decision, but I could see him absolutely putting Dylan Butka to sleep early.
Yeah.
The 1
I
or
mean,
2
if you look
KO
at the stats,
200.
the one thing that I don't worry so much about Shabazian's cardio here is if you look at the stats, it's almost like Butka doesn't realize you can strike in MMA. He doesn't strike.
No.
He doesn't land anything against anybody.
No, he just pushes you on the cage and
like he does not. The guy does not land strikes. So, it's kind of hard for me to think that he's going to be able to push enough of a pace to wear Shabazian out. I mean, I think Shabazian, like you said, could probably take him out, and I think he probably should. Like this feels like a
get right spot. Like the UFC are saying, "Here you go, kid. Get back on track."
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Like we've seen him kill these guys before. This is here's one more probably $15,000 payday for Butka on his way out the door. Thanks for letting us get a guy a win here. So yeah, I mean, I think Shabazian probably starches him. You can get plus 200 on 1 or 2. That's definitely worth a bet. And I mean, if he loses this fight, I mean, the dude shouldn't even show his face in the UFC anymore. It's just he's just not going to win many fights if he can't win this one. So I think Shabazian handles business here. I think he looks good. Probably looks good early. We still doesn't answer any questions about him. Still, if he fights another tough guy, it's probably not going to go well for him. But this is a tailor-made fight for Shabazian to win.
Yeah, the knockout's plus 125. If you don't want to take the 1 or 2, you think he gets it in round 3.
Yeah, so that's not bad either.
That's plus 125. Even. Yeah.
I mean, Shabazian is definitely dangerous. We've seen him starch multiple guys in the UFC, so it's not out of the question that he knocks this dude out at all.
Round 1 KO is plus 350. Tasty.
Yeah, I think at some point he does. So, however you want to do it. But we will move on here. Our next fight is in the featherweight division. We've got Calvin Kattar taking on Youssef Zalal. Kattar was in one of the most boring fights of the year. I think it was last year against Aljo.
UFC 300. UFC 300.
Yeah, he just got absolutely taken to the wrestling clinic and got taken down. Aljo did nothing but held him down, and it was just a complete trash show. Kattar was coming off of an ACL, so I guess you can give him a little bit of a pass, but not really. He's never really been known for his wrestling defense anyway. Taking on Youssef Zalal, another guy who, a hot prospect that we thought maybe was a dead prospect, left the UFC, went on a tear, came back, and has stayed on a tear. Looked great. He looks like the guy we all thought he was back in 2019, 2020. So it's kind of a crossroads fight here. Calvin Kattar, how far is he falling? Youssef Zalal, how far can he go? Kattar's always been a gamer. But again, Zalal's got that grappling, so there is a pretty clear path here for him. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of a tough one because I mean we know what we're getting with Cater. He's got great boxing. I mean, but he's coming off the injury. He got mauled by Aljo, lost every single round, looked terrible, got held down. And then the injuries, but I mean, we know what we're getting out of the guy. I mean, the guy if he can stop a takedown and keep it on the feet, I mean, he's going to definitely have a big advantage here on the feet against the law. It's if he can stop that takedown. And I don't know, do you put Zalal the same level of grappling as Aljamain Sterling?
Straight
I
wrestling, I
don't
would say
know.
no, but definitely a really good grappler overall.
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with Zalal since coming back. I mean, he's been like slicing through these guys like a hot knife through butter. I mean, he's choking everyone out. He's putting them out. He's subbing them.
Yeah,
But the thing is, he is kind of low volume on the feet. I mean, he doesn't really throw much on the feet. I mean, the striking is decent, but he just doesn't let his hands go. He's probably he's going to want to grapple here 100%. His path to victory here is grappling. So I don't know. This is the one where I could see myself maybe a live betting opportunity here. And if Cater can stuff some takedowns and keep it on the feet, then it's. I think this could be closer than the minus 500 on Yusuf Zalal. I mean, the number is kind of. I mean, plus 375 on Cater is. I mean, kind of
it's crazy. You're right.
disrespectful.
Yeah, that's crazy for sure.
Um. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing really you could do with the money line here. Even all the overs are all juiced for Zalal to the round two minus Zalal to win. Fight starts round two is minus 240. I mean, a bet that I was looking at earlier in the week was, I mean, what has this guy been doing? He's been slicing through guys. I mean, so the sub here for Zalal plus 300. I mean, that might be I might take a piece of that, and then take a piece of that. And if Cater can stuff some takedowns and keep it on the feet, maybe betting Cater live if he looks like he's a warm body and able to stuff the takedowns because he's definitely got the volume advantage on the feet. So
Yeah,
that might be the path that I go. So,
yeah. I mean, I honestly, I don't know what the price on sub or decision would be for Zalal. I'd find it hard to believe he wins by KO or TKO. Just because Cater's just too tough. That's
minus 400.
Yeah, so that's pointless. Yeah, I don't mind this sprinkle on sub though. Zalal has looked like an absolute killer. He's taken out guys left and right. His submission game is really good. He does have some pretty solid, he can land a big shot, club and sub type thing. Cater's taken a lot of damage in his career. It takes a toll on you. He's always been kind of a scrapper. He's been in a lot of fights that have been close. So the fall off for these guys tends to be pretty big. Kind of reminds me of a little bit less successful Tony Ferguson. We saw Tony Ferguson take a lot of damage in a lot of his fights, and then he was still finding ways to win. And then the next thing you know, the guy's losing. Now I think he's lost 8 fights in a row. It just takes a toll on you.
He's in the GFL now, man. He's in the GFL.
He's in the GFL. He might find a win over there. We'll see. But yeah, these guys that take a lot of damage, man, it just at some point they just fall off a cliff. Calvin Cater's as tough as they get, and who knows? But I think Zalal at his best at this point is just head and shoulders better. Obviously, the money line's juiced to the gills. Can't really bet that. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that plus 300 on the sub. And I guess, maybe worth a parlay shot if, with him by decision.
It's minus 140.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like I don't hate that, throwing that in with maybe another fighter that just try to get something to plus money. But I can see it going to decision for sure. I mean, Cater's definitely the toughest guy with the biggest heart that he's fought since returning to the UFC. So, Cater doesn't just go away. So I don't mind. I don't mind the decision on this one. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Zalal just kind of is what we all thought he was to begin with, and just finds a way to a sub. But yeah, I like Zalal here. I think, but like you said though, live betting opportunity. If Cater shows some life, he's a guy that shows no quit. I mean, we've seen it. We saw Max Holloway land, I don't know, was it 400 and something strikes on him, and he was still throwing punches in the 5th round of that fight. So the guy, he's got no quit in him at all. So definitely maybe a live opportunity on Cater, but I think Zalal finds a way to get it done. I would think he probably out grapples him here, and that's the path. But yeah, I think Zalal's the play, and I think the overs are live for sure. All right, so that brings us to our main event, and this is an interesting one to me because I've been saying to myself, you got to get off the train before the train gets off the tracks with a lot of these guys. We saw it with Izzy. Cannonier's a guy that we kind of saw it with. It just seems like he's kind of fallen off. A lot of these, like I mentioned with Tony Ferguson, like, guys that are championship level guys, and they start losing, and then they just continue to lose. This matchup here, Gregory Rodrigues, very tough. He's a big dude, 6'3", good power, great wrestling. Cannonier, he looked good against Bahayo for the most part. It was a very close fight, but again, gets hurt in that fight late, gets broken down. Just seems like that's happened more and more to him. So interesting fight here. Rodrigues is the favorite, but Cannonier, does he still have something left in the tank, or are his better days behind him? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is one where I've been on the train the last couple of fights, the Jerry Cannonier train, and it's been a bumpy ride,
Yeah.
Even though the Imavov fight, I mean, he gave Nasruddin Imavov all he could handle. I mean, I thought he was winning that fight. I thought until
I thought so too,
until he got clipped, and then Herzog kind of stops it early. Maybe could have gave Cannonier maybe a couple more seconds to kind of recover. He was still defending himself. When he stopped it. So I think that might have been a little bit of an early stoppage. I mean, you kind of let the guy go out on a shield, but okay, that one. But then the Baralo fight was kind of just like disappointing. I mean, he got outstruck by Kyle, who's not really known for striking. Kyle's more of a grappler,
right.
And he just got beat up. Like, I mean, that was kind of a tough watch, man. And it's Cannonier dig down and find, I mean, he's 40 years old. I mean, how many more, great performances does he have? Is the chin gone? We've seen him hurt in that. I mean, he got absolutely fucking like lit up in that Baralo fight, but he was able to recover and make it to decision. And I mean, if it was Herzog, he probably would have stopped it. I mean, or he could have died in there. Either one. You never know with that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, I mean, I like Cannonier. I like the volume. I like the power. I mean, the takedown defense is good. I mean, this is tempting for me not to bet Cannonier at plus 200. I mean, Gregory Rodrigues, I think he's good, but I mean, I question he's very hittable. One thing, I mean, he's a grappler that kind of fell in love with his hands and his power. I mean, because the BJJ for Gregory is just, I mean, he's great. If he gets it down to the ground, he could go to work, He's got great BJJ, But he's kind of the guy that kind of fell in love with his hands. And we've seen, we've seen him get sparked before, like Bruno Ferreira just absolutely just destroyed him, sent him to fucking outer space. and he's taking a lot of damage in these fights. I mean, Chidi had him busted up. I mean, even though he did come back and get the win in that one, he's just another guy that just takes a lot of damage, kind of just wants to go to war, And I don't know. This is I could see Cannonier kind of catching him with the big shot. Like, I don't know, but then I could see him wobbling Cannonier. That's my fear here. Is Cannonier just done? Is he just cooked?
That's what I'm trying to figure out too.
Cannonier at plus 200 right now is calling my name, but he might just be completely cooked, Because, I mean, I don't know. This is Rodrigues' first, 5-round fight. If it gets later, how's the cardio going to be? How's the output going to be? That's a question mark we have. We haven't seen him in a 5-round fight if it gets deep. So this is a tough one for me. Like, I want to bet Cannonier, but it's
I know.
It's like, fuck, he might just be totally, completely cooked. Like,
yeah. I feel like up until the 5th round of that Bahaio fight, I can see an argument for Cannonier, but then getting dropped and hurt really bad again, it's just the guy's 40 years old. At some point, man, like, does he have the heart to keep going? If he gets hurt again, how it just seems like
I don't question his. He seems like he's pretty tough and wants to keep fighting. Like in the Imavov fight, he didn't want to quit.
Right, but man, it just seems like as these guys get on, like these shots that they could take earlier, kind of a lesser shot starts to hurt them a little bit more, and it just gets bad. And I don't know, man. I feel like definitely Cannonier's live here, but I have to stick to my guns here. I'm trying to get off these guys before it's too late, and I've already failed at that with Cannonier a couple times, and maybe this is the bounce back here, and it burns me again. But I just can't pick him. I just can't do it. I think I want to see how these guys face off, because Rodrigues size wise should be substantially bigger. So I'm interested to see how they face off. And I do worry with Rodrigues. We have seen him clipped. Sometimes fight IQ not always there for him, but
I mean, you got to think if Rodrigues wins, I think he probably knocks him out. I think I see it hard for him winning a decision against Cannonier if he's there. Like,
yeah, I think at some point this turns into a war.
The knockout is even money for Rodrigues, which is, I mean, they think that's how it's going to end.
Yeah, and I'd be curious because
over under is 2.5. So I mean,
it's tough though. I can see it.
This is a tough one. I could.
Yeah.
I'm undecided on this one. I can't land on a side. I'm going to lean Cannonier, but just as a pick for the fight, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm going to lean Cannonier. No bet as of now. But yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna lean Rodrigues, and basically, it's almost like the Contender Series fade, like that. The Contender Series fade. When a Contender Series kid going up against a tough vet, I'm kind of like, just fade those guys and let the chips fall where they may. This is a fight where it's a contender that was once great, now I think is falling off. Fighting, it's not like Gregory Rodrigues is the youngest guy in the world, but I think he's like 6 years younger than Cannonier still. And it seems to me like Cannonier's probably the side. If I looked at it on paper, I feel like Cannonier's the side, but that's what I thought about Izzy in that last fight. And there was my doubts, but I thought, no, this is Izzy. He's still better than this kid. And by hook or by crook, Izzy gets caught. He looked head and shoulders better in the first round, and he gets caught. So I'm just rolling with that. I just feel like I got to fade these guys as they get older and they fall off. I got to fade them. And that's what I'm doing here in this fight. And that's why I'm rolling with Rodrigues. Rodrigues, very skilled. He has the grappling. He has, power. He has
What, by
reasons
knockout?
why he can win the fight. But I'm just I feel like you just have to kind of get off the train. And that's
So
really what
do
I'm
you
doing
think
here.
do you think he puts him away?
I don't know, man. I think he could. I think he could for sure.
Well, you're getting Rodrigues by decision at plus 500. So
I don't hate that either. I mean, Cannonier's tough as nails. We saw it in that last fight. We were both on him.
yeah, I
And
don't
he
mind
did
overs
damage.
here. The more
He
we
had
think
Ohio
about
hurt.
it,
I mean, but if we're comparing the two, Rodrigues to me is a much better. I don't know if I would say much better striker, but I think he's a more dangerous striker than Bahayo on the feet. But Bahayo looked good. He looked solid. Cannonier busted him up. Cannonier, I felt that fight was 2-2 going into the fifth. But there was moments in that fight where Cannonier's legs looked weak. That fifth round, he got cracked. He got hurt. He took a lot of damage there late. So
fight starts round 3 is minus 120.
that might be my favorite bet of the fight. Because I do think the fight probably starts round 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. The over 2.5 is minus 110, but the fight starts. Oh, I guess it's minus 120. So I guess you're paying 10 cents for that extra 230. So I don't mind that. Yeah.
Not bad. It's not bad at all. I like that.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I guess technically we're on opposite ends of this fight, but we both.
I don't know where I'm at. I could be on Rodrigues on Saturday. I don't know who to pick here.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm just trying to stick to my guns here. I'm just trying to.
Well, yeah.
If
you got a system going, you got to ride it out, see how it plays out for you.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to stick to it. So that's where I'm at. I mean, obviously Rodrigues is a favorite, so it's not like it's a crazy thought, but I definitely think Cannonier's live. And again, we'll see. We live bet these fights. So if there's an opportunity to get on Cannonier and he's, maybe lost the first round or two and looks like he's not going anywhere, might hop right back on that train. But as of right now, I got to go with Rodrigues. I got to stick to it, and we'll see what we get. But that's it. We will be live as we always are. We've got NASCAR's returned. We're watching the duels right now. They're in the second duel with 7 to go. We're going to have Xfinity on Saturday. We're going to have the Cup race on Sunday. So Nuke the House, as always, will be live all weekend.
Trucks on Friday, too. Tomorrow,
trucks as well. We got trucks as well. Yeah. So we're basically from here on out, we're going to be live most of the hours of the day. So the promo code, if you haven't signed up yet, is Nuke the NBA. So sign up, Nuke the NBA, get a free week. Definitely worth it. We've got the best live bettors in the business, Keg, Coop, all the crew. And it's fun. It's a fun show. It's a great hang. It's the best way to watch sports, I think, with a bunch of knowledgeable people. So sign up if you haven't already. And that's it for me. That's it. Johnny, if you got anything else to add, let us know.
Good luck with your bets, and see you guys this weekend.
All right. Yeah. So we will see you guys, and good luck this weekend. Let's cash some tickets.
Later.